everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Media Boat Podcast, your weekly rundown where we talk about movies, TV, music, and video games, but not necessarily in that order. My name is Mike. With me is myself. Solo show today, which means it's either going to go really, really fast or really, really slow. But we're going to find out as we get into it with the music section. Start the music section with the Billboard. Start the Billboard with the Hot 100. And the hottest song in the land is I Hate That I Made You Love Me by Ariana Grande. Number two is Still Choosing Texas by Ella Langley. Coming in at three, Janice STFU from Be Her. At four, Be Her by Ella Langley. And right top five, Hate That I Made You Love Me by Ariana Grande. That's right, I messed up. Because at number one is I Knew It, You Knew You by Taylor Swift, debuting at number one before Toy Story 5 comes out. As for your albums chart, your Billboard 200, we have at number one, Iceman by Drake. At two, Dandelion by Ella Langley. Coming at three, The Problem himself, Morgan Wallen. At four, The Great Divide by Noah Kahan. Hey, right at your top five, Do That Again by Malcolm Todd. Malcolm Todd, your only new entry to the top five. Everyone else stays the same. All right, let's get into the music. If you like any of those albums, we have new releases, starting with Belladonna Nocturne by Daniel Lanois. Castle Park, the album, not the place, by Graham Coxon. Abstract Natural by Life. Terrestrials by Pond. And lastly, Dream Me a Dream by Tucker Zimmerman. Now we can get into the music news, and we're going to go over to the world of Eminem, as Meta had filed to dismiss Eminem's publisher, 8 Mile Styles, a copyright infringement claim. Well, a federal judge has denied the motion to dismiss and will allow the case to head into discovery. 8 Mile Style is seeking maximum statutory damages totaling $109 million, alleging that Meta stored 243 of its copyrighted compositions across the music libraries of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp without permission. The publisher sued Facebook's parent last year, alleging that its catalog was featured across the music libraries of its platforms without a valid license. Meta's lawyers call the damages request eye-popping and the lawsuit itself fanciful, arguing that the allegations were far too broad to survive past an initial motion to dismiss. But Judge Brandy R. McMillan disagreed, ruling on Tuesday that the complaint, quote, states enough of plausibility to claim infringing acts by Meta, close quote, which means we got a trial on our hands. That's right. Music trial, Eminem versus Meta. And we're going to get into publishing rights. Who has the right to publish? Who has the right to pay for those licensing fees? That's how we get the music onto these streaming sites. And if Meta, I don't say conveniently forgot to pay 8 Mile Style, or maybe they paid Universal, but not 8 Mile Style because they technically own the rights. Here's we're getting into copyright law and who owns what. Favorite topic here at the Media Boat Podcast. This will go into discovery. This will be a probably lengthy trial because it is Meta, after all. And the billion-dollar company would probably not want to pay $109 million in damage fees. even though they're a $1 billion company, even though they could probably just pay this off, even though Eminem's company is probably right, because why else would they bring this forward if they didn't have a leg to stand on? So maybe we'll get more payout from this. Maybe Eminem will get the 109, but we get to see this go to court. Very fun time. Now, I did not listen to anything new, so we can move right along ahead to video games, where we start with new releases, starting with EA Sports UFC 6 on the PS5 and Xbox Series X. I'm not sure if the White House lawn is a available arena in this game. Probably DLC, probably paid DLC if I had to guess. The next we have The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales, out for the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Switch 2. That's right, that Nintendo game is finally here with the really long and confusing name. And lastly, Dave the Diver, In the Jungle, which is DLC for Dave the Diver, and that's anywhere you can play Dave the Diver, which is everywhere. You got it, you can play it. Well, DLC, so you can buy to play it. All right. Now, we got some troubling news in video games where media about favorite studio, Don't Nod, best known for creating the narrative adventure games of Life is Strange and Lost Records, Rage and Bloom, is in dire straits as they will need new funding if the companies can continue on. Don't Nod has been searching for a hit in recent years amid a string of releases that have failed to set tills ringing, including, but not limited to, Harmony, The Fall of Reverie, Jusant, Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden, and this year's sci-fi action adventure, Athlon, or Athelion, Athelion. Either way, Don't Nod has been warned that it has 5 months of capital remaining, unless further investment is located imminently. Now, the company is part owned by Tencent, though auditors have revealed that the Chinese conglomerate is no longer interested in providing further short-term funds. What this means for Don't Nod is there's 3 possible solutions that are currently being explored. The first and main one is finding more funding, uh, probably from either another major partner or outside investors. Second, launching the studio's next game sooner than planned. Currently, no one knows what their next game is currently unannounced, and it's planned for 2027. But if they need that funding, it needs to be released before that, within the next 5 months. And since we just had Summer Games Fest and there was no announcement from them, they kind of missed their shot there, unless they do their own thing. Or third, and the really sour note of it all, assigning staff to work for hire subcontracting work on external projects, meaning that they just become a studio who works for another studio, which means they do retain their employees, not going into layoffs just yet, but it does mean that they're working on games that are not specifically for Don't Nod. As yet, however, no solution has been found for funding. And as Don't Nod is a favorite here at the Media Boat podcast, we do hope they either find funding or find a solution because they are a favorite studio. Unfortunately, what we do say here is it's a business. And unfortunately, Don't Nod as a business has not had the hits that they quite wanted to see. Outside of Life is Strange and Lost Records, they haven't really had a hit. Even like they had a game already released this year. Athelion didn't come out to wide praise, didn't come out to wide acclaim, didn't come out to make a splash like it probably needed to. Now, 5 months left. Puts it into November. Yeah, we're in June. So by November. So by Thanksgiving, we're looking to see if Don't Nod is even a studio. Or do they get absorbed by a bigger studio like Ubisoft, maybe PlayStation Studios, maybe Microsoft Studios? But they do need funding and they do need it fast by the end of the year. Actually, by Thanksgiving. Time is ticking and we don't want to see Don't Nod go away. Ooh, maybe they get picked up and absorbed by the publishers for Life is Strange, Square Enix. Hmm, that could be interesting. All right. Well, I've been playing a game. Well, not really. I've been playing a demo of a game. If you own a PlayStation 5, you can also go out and play this demo, Duskfade. What is Duskfade, you may be asking? Well, it's a new game by developer Weird Beluga Studios. And it's kind of this clockwork punk style 3D action platformer that kind of harkens back to PlayStation 2 days of like Jack and Daxter, of Ratchet and Clank, of Kingdom Hearts. That's this weird combination of like kind of your favorite, well, I don't know your favorite nostalgia, but like my favorite nostalgia games growing up, all mixed together, and it really, really fun because it deals with time manipulation. Your weapon is a sword, but it's also like the hands of a clock. So you strike, you fight, and you strike, and you get like the hands are like physics fighting, and like you have like well, it's basically off Kingdom Hearts because like it was keychain, except they're like tolls or weights from like a grandfather clock that help you slingshot. It's really fun. It's really creative. And there's a demo out for the PS5. I believe also a demo out for the Nintendo Switch 2. It's going to be released on August 13th, 20 of this year. So about 2 more months of waiting. I already had this game on my radar as a game coming out to watch out for after playing the demo. It's definitely on my radar. I'm definitely going to be picking this up day one. I think if you play the demo, it'll get more in tune with how the game mechanics work, how it functions. It's pretty much up until the first main boss of the first open world. From there, you should be able to get a good gauging if this is a type of game for you. If you like those kind of classic action adventure games, if you like time manipulation, if you want to support an independent developer, here you go with Duskfade. It's very, very fun to run around and just explore. You're rewarded a lot for exploring. And one thing this game does that a lot of games need to continue to do, which is have purpose of replaying levels, have purpose to go back when you find new gear, when you upgrade stuff. It makes you want to go back and explore more areas, open up more worlds. And from the demo, I thought it'd be smaller, but I just kept going and going and going. It's like, oh, it just kept going and going and going. It just kept like the sense of satisfaction from exploring was so good and so refreshing that it sold me on the game that I'm gonna pick it up when it comes out on August 13th. Will it make it on my top five? I'll have to play the game to see, or I'll just have to beat the game, see how the narrative goes. That is the little one criticism I do have of it is that some of it is voice acting, some of it is text dialogue. It's very inconsistent, and the voice acting may not be like as clean as it probably could be, but very, very minor nitpicky. Otherwise, the story seems like you're on a grand adventure to save your sister. All right. And yeah, that comes out everywhere on August 13th. Yeah, wide release. You got it. You will eventually play it on August 13th. All right. Now, let's move into television, where we start with the sports corner. And everyone's got wrapped up this past week in FIFA fever as the World Cup continues. And as of right now, Mexico and the US are guaranteed to play in the knockout rounds as they have both gone 2-0, winning both their games. They don't have to necessarily win their third game in order to compete further. Let's see here. As of right now, who else? There's the only two that are currently moved on as the games go from Thursday to Thursday. So by next week, we'll know more of who has been advanced to these knockout rounds and who will be open to kind of third place uh, play-in scenarios. But we also had a different type of play-in. A champion was crowned this past weekend in the United Bowl. That's right, the UFL had their championship game where the Louisville Kings won and are your champions. But also, 50 Cent is a champion because he's performed at the halftime show. I guess that's what you get for the UFL. If you want a halftime performer, you go get 50 Cent. Yeah, it was fun to watch. It was fine. Mistakes were made. Passing was horrendous with both quarterbacks throwing for a total of under 100 yards. But it was a ground and pound game. It was a grinded out, and ultimately the Louisville Kings came out on top. As for now that that is over, we move on to actual NFL football, where training camp is a month away, July 15th. But there's big news coming out of the NCAA as it's kind of crossing over with the story we talked about last week in Brendan Sorsby. So last week, we talked about how a judge in Texas ruled that Brendan Sorsby would be allowed to play for Texas Tech, even though he was caught gambling. And the NCAA said that that's against our rules. You are banned from playing. Judge in Texas said they do not agree with that ruling. Brendan Sorsby will play. That's where we left it last week. As a result of that ruling, several Big 12 teams, where Texas Tech plays, decided to refuse to play other games against Texas Tech following that ruling, meaning loss of travel, loss of funding, loss of sponsorship and deals. So what ends up happening is that Brendan Sorsby will no longer be playing and will no longer attend Texas Tech. Not that Texas Tech kicked Brendan Sorsby out per se. Instead, Brendan Sorsby will opt for the NFL supplemental draft. And if this is your first time hearing about the NFL supplemental draft, you are not alone, as this rarely happens. So, how the NFL supplemental draft comes about is when NCAA players either miss the opportunity to sign up for the actual NFL draft due to a variety of circumstances, whether it's unknown eligibility, whether they were going to play and they opted not to, whether they were due to injury and couldn't opt in to drafting, but then got better, got approved, and decided to opt for the draft after the fact. If a variety of circumstances outside of the player's control would not allow them to attend certain days, meet certain obligations to make the NFL draft. They can appeal to the league, the NFL league, to apply for the supplemental draft. Then it's up to Roger Goodell to determine if enough players qualify for the supplemental draft. Up to him, not some other governing party, not some like best 3 of 5 ruling. Just up to him. If there's enough players or enough interest in the supplemental draft from the NFL teams, then they will have it. The last supplemental draft happened 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 2019. 2019 was the last time they had a supplemental draft. So it's been a while. And what happens is that the NFL teams submit a bid for the available players, um, by submitting what picks they would give up in next year's draft. Seeing as Brendan Sorsby was talked about as a possible first round pick or day one pick, possibly day two pick, you're looking at an NFL team giving up a second or third rounder to get Brendan Sorsby on their team now. Normally, quarterback doesn't come out like this, but since he has, and since there are teams in need of a quarterback, looking at you, Arizona Cardinals, they may opt to spend a draft pick in the future for a quarterback pick today. It's the old hamburger on Tuesday for a quarterback today dilemma. This draft will be happening at the end of June, I believe. Well, sorry. The the knowledge of if the supplemental draft will happen will be by the end of June, uh, and then the draft will be happening in July. I believe that's how that goes. Yeah, there's no current date set, but the draft must be held on or before July 16th, because training camp is expected to begin July 23rd for most teams. July 15th, July 23rd that week. The deadline for players to apply and petition for this draft is June 22nd. Since Brendan Survey has already declared that he wants in on the supplemental draft, well, this means other players can now be vie for this supplemental draft. But we will know that next week. Well, come Monday, but we'll talk about it next week about all the players who are in the supplemental draft. Now let's get into the other news, the big news, the stuff that happened this past weekend, because two champions were crowned. The New York Knickerbockers, after years and years of deluge and trudging and just being bottom of the barrel and getting so close and not quite. They have finally conquered the NBA and are once again, yeah, NBA champions. Not since 1977 have the New York Knicks been at the top of the NBA. Well, I guess that's technically not right because not since November have they been at the top of the NBA because the New York Knicks also won the midseason tournament, the NBA Cup. Uh, very, since the NBA Cup is relatively new, it's very odd that the New York Knicks ended up winning it. Uh, this was 2025. I think they were the 2025 winners. Yeah, the New York Knicks won it in the NBA Cup in 2025. So congratulations on being double champions within the same year. As for hockey in NHL, the Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup and snatched it away from Vegas. Thank you, Hurricanes. And since both seasons are now over, the new season begins now because parades are done and swept up. Trophies have been handed out. You will get your rings and other hanging of the banners at the start of the next season for both of those teams. But those are next year's or next season's problems. All right. And other than that, over in baseball, all-star voting continues. Get those votes in. And of note, Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA himself, hit for the cycle this past week. Very rare and very exciting. Also, once again, it has finally happened. Mike Trout got injured, as if we knew that would happen, because yes, we all did. They got Mike Trout and Aaron Judge out for the year, and Cal Raleigh was doing terrible, which means it's time for a new MVP of the league to step up to the plate. Because, yeah, Shohei also kind of got injured as well. Let's see here. As for the stats for the league, I guess Kyle Schwarber is leading with 25 home runs, followed by Jordan Alvarez at 24, Brian Buxton at 23, Hunter Goodman at 21, and Matt Olson at 20. Aaron Ashby is leading the league in pitching wins at 10, and Jordan Walker in St. Louis and Nick Kurtz on the Athletics are leading RBIs with 57, with Andy Pages and Jordan Alvarez just behind at 56 and 55, respectively. Uh, but yeah, that's baseball. It'll continue as outside of the World Cup, there is no other sports currently going. Well, I guess we don't really count NASCAR or WWE, but yeah, outside of you know the World Cup going on, it's the dog days of summer and get out to a baseball game, especially for the upcoming 4th of July weekend. As I'm sure there'll be plenty of fireworks and spectacles going on at a ballpark near you. All right, let's move into television news, and we've got a bit of a buyout. Fox Corp, yes, that Fox Corp, currently hosting the World Cup, is making currently hosting the broadcast of the World Cup, is making a dramatic move to hitch its future to the streaming world, unveiling plans to buy Roku in a deal valued at $22 billion. The companies expect the deal to close in the first half of the calendar year of 2027, aka a year from now. The deal would combine Fox Sports, news, and entertainment content, and the Tubi service with Roku's connected TV platform, the Roku channel, first-party data, and direct relationships with more than 100 million global streaming households. According to the companies, on a pro forma basis, the combined company will become the third largest player in the US. That's TV shares by viewing, uh, according to Performa. Fox Corp had previously actually been an investor in Roku, but it sold its 5% stake in the company back in 2020 when it decided to buy Tubi because competing services. But now, as what should have happened 6 years ago now, Tubi Roku smashed them together, combined one, all under one big household of Fox Corp. And yes, this does mean that Fox News and all that Fox branding gets pumped up into Roku and presumably fills all that ad space on your TV. So if you have a Roku device, if you have a Roku TV, if you have a Roku player, you're very quickly going to be inundated with Fox News propaganda. I'm sorry, we have to call it Fox News advertising for technical reasons, but it's Fox News propaganda pumping it into a Roku near you. So if you have a Roku TV, it might be time to look at buying a new TV. Although, I'm not telling you what to do with your wallet or your money, but I am telling you that Roku will be purchased by Fox Corp. And if you don't want to support Fox Corp, you don't have to. There are alternatives out there. All right. Now, I've been watching simple TV shows. First up, the Amazing Digital Circus. Matt put his money on Amazing Digital Circus finale over at the box office, but he was unaware that was a Fathom event because it's available on its YouTube channel and Netflix, the finale, out right now. If you like chaos, if you like really, really strange and weird ideas being put out there into a digital format, if you have no idea what the Amazing Digital Circus is, it's kind of like chaos, but also like controlled chaos. It's these very, very random people from very, very different walks of life placed into this virtual reality controlled by an AI. Sounds very topical at the time, at this time. And the chaos that does ensue, the digital chaos or digital circus, an amazing digital circus, if you will. And it's just about how do you deal with both uncertainty, how do you deal with chaos, how do you deal with what is real life, and how do you deal with if you're running from those problems in real life into this kind of virtual playground where anything is possible. And I do mean anything. It is very weird. It is very wacky. It is very out there. But it also does pay very, very good homages to classic comedies and cartoons that have come before it. It plays great homage to a lot of other digital media that is out there, a lot of film media that is out there, but also it has this really, really good layer of metaphysical like understanding and like what is real, like what happens like if your mind breaks down, if you lose yourself to the loony bin. And it's really, really hard hitting at times for a digital cartoon. This is one of the more abstract uh, forms of media out there. Say that very cautiously because it's not all like digital. If well, you have to watch that to understand it, but it goes really, really weird places. And what they're able to do within like this computer, like this CG, like blows a lot of other competitors out of the water. It comes from Gooseworks over at Glitch, which really pushed the boundaries in animation. If that at all sounds anything interesting to you, well, it was only 30 minutes, except for the finale, which is an hour. But if you're in for a 30-minute ride and it's only 9 episodes long, go ahead and check out the Amazing Digital Circus. It's all available just on YouTube. Find Amazing Digital Circus, or it's also available on Netflix. But really suggest you'd rather watch it directly from the proper owners over on YouTube at Glitch, their channel Glitch. Now, for the other show I've been watching, a new cooking show is here, and it's taking a rip and a page straight from South Korea competitions. On the Food Network and HBO Max, you will find 100 cooks. That's right, 100 home chefs ballot up for the best home chef that they can find for this competition. A lot of the food that they put out is definitely home cooking. So if you're expecting anything like black spoons versus white spoons in culinary class wars over on Netflix, you're not going to find that here. If you're expecting anything like Physical 100, where they put everyone battling off at the same time, you're not going to find it here. This is very more um, smaller based competition where they only have at most, I think, 12 cooks at a time. The 100 chefs cooks are, I'm saying cooks because these are not chefs. These are all home cooks. The 100 cooks are chosen by random lottery ball system, and the challengers is also uh, determined by random lottery ball system. But it's hosted by Terry Crews, and you get a lot of Terry Crews in it. So if you like Terry Crews and you like cooking and you like home cook competitions, 100 Cooks could be just for you. All right. Well, that's what I've been watching. So let's go over into cancellations and renewals. What am I no longer watching? Well, you're no longer watching The Burrows. Has this been canceled after one season? If you don't know what this was the Duffer Brothers new creation over on Netflix. Well, they only got one season out of it. But elsewhere on Netflix, the Four Seasons has gotten a third season on Netflix. Blood Axe has gotten a second season on Prime Video. If you haven't heard of Blood X, that's because it has technically not premiered yet. It's going to premiere this fall. It's from the creator of Vikings. I believe it's the Vikings, the show creator for Vikings. His next project is Blood X and already picked up for a second season. We also have The Reluctant Traveler with Eugene Levy getting a fourth season at Apple TV. Rivals getting a third season at Hulu. Funny AF with Kevin Hart, for some reason, getting a second season over on Netflix. And now we come to the death section with Anne Shadeen, age 77, actress, starred in Alf, Three's Company, and Marcus Welby, MD. We also have Davy Chase, age 35. Oh, that's young, 35. Actress was the Ring, starred in The Ring, the ghost in The Ring, as well as the voice of Lilo in Lilo and Stitch. The cartoon, not the live action version. And then we have Brian Johnson, no relation, age 86, special effects film artist, worked on The Empire Strikes Back, Alien, The Never Ending Story, Oscar winner in 1980 and 1981, a staple in creation of special effects for modern films. Speaking of modern films, we're going to move into the movie section, and we're moving right ahead in this episode as we're going to start with the weekend box office. And I was right. Disclosure Day came out to the tune of $44 million, way below that 75 million we put it at. Actually, it was also way before the 70 million Matt wanted to put it at. So that puts me at now at 9 and 14, and Matt down at 10 and 12. I'm one win away from getting to him. Over at number 2, we had Obsession with another $19 million. That's at $188 million. That is a hit. At 3, Scary Movie with another $14 million. Scary Movie 6 made another $14 million. That puts it at 84 million. Coming in at 4, Backrooms with another 11 million, bringing its total to $160 million. And rounding your top 5, Masters of the Universe with another 8.9 million. That brings its domestic total to $46 million. Oof, you hear that thud? That's the sound of that film hitting rock bottom. Well, we got 2 movies coming up this weekend, your Father's Day weekend. We have The Death of Robin Hood, and then we have your number 1 film, Toy Story 5. There's already good buzz coming out for Toy Story 5. A lot of people, including myself, have always asked the question, why Toy Story 5? But then you look at the box office that Toy Story 4 did, and you look at the critical reception that Toy Story 4 got, and you go, well, that's why. They could have stopped at 3. They should have stopped at 3. But money and IP, and it's Pixar knows what they're doing here with Toy Story. Expect this to come in to $100 million opening weekend. All right, let's get into movie news, where we're going to Congress this week with the No Fakes Act, as more than 16,000 signatures from SAG-AFTRA's have been more than 16,000 signatures have been added to SAG-AFTRA's open letter demanding Congress to pass the revived No Fakes Act, which is an anti-deepfake bill that would give individuals control over how their name and likeness are used. President SAG-AFTRA President Sean Astin said in a statement, quote, Americans are demanding that the federal government take sensible action. The No Fakes Act would establish a fundamental protection to control their own voice and likeness. Unchecked AI can ruin lives. Close quote. The latest version of the No Fakes Act was introduced last month by a group of lawmakers after the last version stalled out last year in the Senate committee. That was also coming a year after Congress passed the Take It Down Act that banned the publication of non consensual intimate images, both user made and AI generated. Well, this past week, the bill has been passed unanimously by the Senate Judiciary Committee, which does mean it gets brought to the floor, assuming it gets brought to the floor and doesn't get stalled out. There's something that is definitely needed, especially as deep fakes technology becomes better and better with time, such as AI technology gets more and more advanced, that people need to be able to control their name, their image, their likeness. We've already seen it in the NCAA with NIL deals. We need it here now more than ever because that's how actors, not just the main Hollywood actors, but other actors, voice actors, background actors, how actors make their living is with their face and their voice. And you just can't have people making cheap imitation, rip-off copies of other people. This We're not in a Mission Impossible style life, but we also need to prevent Mission Impossible style life from actually happening. All right. Hopefully, this No Fakes Act will help with that. Assuming we have a government in charge to help, you know, we keep it, keep their thumb on the scale. Don't know about this one, but maybe someone will. All right, let's get into thoughts. And I did watch a movie out on HBO right now and HBO Max. Is A24's How to Make a Killing. That's right. If you've been paying attention to this podcast, you will know that I titled this as the end of Glenn Powell's acting career as a leading man. As this follows up, this was released after he had The Running Man, he was starring in The Running Man, which was Edgar Wright's Running Man, and now this A24 film, How to Make a Killing, where both of those films did not make a splash and impact at the box office. Well, I decided to give Glenn Powell a try here in How to Make a Killing, and I'm glad I did. I actually really enjoy this film. I kind of thought I would based off the premise, but the movie moves really fast. The movie is really tight. There is no wasted space here. It's just a go, go, go fast movie. By the time it got to the third act, I was like, wow, like we're already here. And it has to move fast. It's a 90-minute movie. Well, just over 90-minute movie. It goes fast. It moves quick. Glenn Powell is really good in this. I'm sorry, Glenn Powell. I like you as an actor. Box office does not reflect your acting abilities. I come to realize this, that there's a reason Glenn Powell keeps getting these lead actor roles because he is a good actor. Box office doesn't reflect that. I can't really help you with that, but I can't help promote the film and say I had a fun time watching this. Uh, like I said, it's very quick, very fast paced. The writing is very sharp. The dialogue is very snappy. Everything moves very fast. You don't get a whole lot of like time spent with the cousins and other family members, as it does move at a pretty fast pace. But the film's also not focused on them. They're focused on Glenn Powell's character and how he offs his family members to inherit the billion-dollar estate. Kind of cheesy ending, kind of hokey ending, but also kind of a fitting ending once you get to the end there. Uh, I had a fun time watching it. I would be able to recommend this to other people if you're looking for kind of a comedy. Yeah, it's not really like a horror. It's like an action comedy adventure, and Glenn Powell very good in this. It does kind of play very fast and very loose with the timeline of things, as it basically jumps over the course of 3 years, 3 to 5 years, I would say, from the start, from like once the film like actually gets going, not like when he's a kid, but like when like the inciting incident like happens, and then from there on out, about 3 to 5 years, I would say. But a lot of fun watching it. That's and yeah, you might have a good time here. Not going to appear on any at least end of the year list for me, but at least I had a fun time watching it, and I kind of enjoyed myself. Yeah, that's How to Make a Killing on HBO and HBO Max. And that does it. I think I just ran through that in record time. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Media Boat Podcast. If you want to hear more of us, check your feed. Find us, School Up, Media Boat Podcast. Find us on YouTube, Media Boat Podcast. We're on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. Just search your RSS feed for Media Boat Podcast. We're we're on Twitch when I stream video games at Media Boat. If you want to leave us a review, we're on IMDb. Just search Media Boat Podcast. If you want to write to us and tell us what is up, you can do that at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back next week with more Matt, more me, more of us, more news, more thoughts. Yeah, more of us. All right, bye.